We all saw these marches all across the country, millions of people on Saturday.
I've never seen anything like what we saw on Saturday. Not in my
you and I
lifetime.
both live on the Hill. It was a flood of people. We didn't see that on the day before.
No, you didn't see that in favor of Trump the day before. But also, you go back over the last decade and a half or so. I mean, there was, we've had a lot of support and opposition for progressive issues over the years. But I don't even remember in opposing the war that we had the type of one day of action. I mean, and this wasn't just in this country. I mean, this was all around the world that these marches were taking place.
So how do we, harness that?
Well, that is.
And where does it? What's it directed at, and who leads it?
So that is the thing that I'm most interested in. I think the biggest deficit we have is in kind of progressive grassroots issue advocacy in the states, and it's for a variety of reasons. Some of the self-criticisms we've had of ourselves over the years, that we're very fragmented. People are in issue silos, so they'll work on one issue, but they don't want to put grassroots resources or funding behind other issues, and we really lack. And I'm talking about outside the party here. I think there's a whole other discussion about how the future chair of the Democratic Party builds the state parties. But we need, and I hate to do anything to even sound like a compliment, we need something more like what the Koch brothers have on the left. We need dedicated multi-issue advocacy in the states that is there and is permanent and is going to be there election after election after election, and can develop a grassroots following and harness the type of energy that you saw on Saturday. I tell this story because I know it from basically personal experience. My brother ran America's Prosperity in North Carolina, asshole. But he ran America's Prosperity in North Carolina for the Koch brothers for 4 or 5 years, and and the fact that they funded that operation year in and year out meant that he could develop a following. He helped prop up and create a bench of Republican office holders. He helped get Pat McCrory elected the first time in 2012, and it's because they were there year in and year out. They had a lobbying operation, a grassroots operation, a digital operation, and an earned media operation. And you say all that, but it wasn't a big. You didn't have to have a lot of people to do that, but you had to have steady investment. And
we have nothing like that.
We have very little
great organizations.
We have very little like that. We have very little like that on the left. We have a number of groups that have grassroots capacity in the state, but for the most part, it's not multi-issue. And then when we do come up on a campaign, like say Merrick Garland when he was nominated, we went out and we hired consultants in the states to do a campaign to pressure Republicans to take up the Garland nomination, and we did that for 4 or 5 months. But then the Garland nomination clearly wasn't going to go anywhere, so those consultants went away, and there was nothing sustained onto the next issue. So that is the thing that I've been preaching for years, and I think
that's smart. I think that's really smart.
And I think that we have to have it. Now, the unions and Tom Steyer have begun to move in that direction with For Our Future, which is a super PAC, which was in I think 7 states going into the general election in the fall, and it seems they're going to keep that infrastructure around. And I'm not even suggesting that we need to be in 50 states, but we should take the core states that we need to be in. Like I would at least start with, let's commit to being in the states for key states that are important to 2018 for 2 years, and not do it on a project by project basis, but be there and build something all the way through the election.
Yeah, there are just to mention some great organizations, not to take away from MoveOn.org. Does
a
great job.
Absolutely.
I think Our Revolution, Bernie's new thing, is just getting started.
Yeah.
But has obviously a great mailing email list, right? A great base, and people who are willing to write a lot of small checks. And there are other organizations, but you're right in terms of a united, a constant presence and across the board on progressive
And I have
issues.
a little bit of a vision for this that is, and look, I've been engaged in press tactics all my adult life. I mean, so bus tours, press conferences, events with blown up monkeys or whatever, just to get press attention. But what I think, and we do a great job getting press attention, what I think we need to do more of is having conversations with voters, and that I think requires a deeper type of organizing.
On that note of grassroots and where Democrats go, I learn a lesson from what the Tea Party did.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at how the Tea Party is still thriving quite well. We have a Tea Partier in the White House.
Yep.
You look at what they did, and you look at how they distanced themselves from Washington and also from their establishment party.
Yep.
And there have got to be more Democratic candidates out there. And I went on a whole tirade the other day about watching some of the establishment Democrats sort of sitting around grabbing for the pins that Trump was using to sign these cabinet members. And it was so gross to watch. And that is repulsive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I think Democrats need to find a way to be anti-establishment party and anti-Trump at the same time.
I think there's a good point to that. I think there's a lot of energy, and look, some of this energy was clearly behind Senator Sanders in the last election. This party really has to be rebuilt from the ground up.